Hello everybody. Hope you're having a good start to your week. Uh, I'm absolutely knackered. Um, I woke up the other day with pain in the bottom of my spine, like in the tail. I don't know how it came about, but I had to take some painkillers for it because wasn't shifting no matter what way I sat, lay. It was there. I noticed it when I came out of my class on Thursday night that I had pain in my hips the next day, like a slight burning sensation. And then it went away, but the next day I had like fucking this pain in the bottom of my back. So I ended up going to class tonight, and it it was interfering with business, but still powered through it, still showed up. So it's one more notch in the belt or whatever. It's a snail's pace going to these kind of classes, but they really, really help. They're good. It's my way of letting off steam. Well, there's two ways: drinking beer and going to class. But different kind of buzz. My pal's coming out tonight. You see him? He's a wee sneaky Russian. I just shut the slider door and let him roam about. Um, but I hope you like the impromptu video I did with the boy from Mary Hull. I was actually up there at a cafe, and he was just walking past with his dog. The dog looked like fucking Cerberus guarding the gates of Hades or something. Um, Looked like the dog was taking him for a walk, to be honest. I don't think he'll mind me saying that. But my pal was kind of noising me up. He was like, you should interview him because he had an ankle monitor on, and he was saying how he was just back for court and all that stuff. And I was like, aye, right, like, but ended up doing it, and I was kind of surprised how much the boy opened up to me. Um, I wasn't expecting that. To be honest, I was expecting, like, as we say, the bravado, piling the bodies up, talking on phone numbers, and that's no offence to him. It's just kind of what you expect for people in the criminal justice system doing an interview with somebody they've never met. Excuse me for yawning. Always seems to happen when I do a video, but I don't yawn all day. But hey ho. But I could tell that they get that, like, when he was talking about his leg, right, and I'm sitting thinking to myself, I wanted to ask him to show me his leg on camera, but I didn't, right? But then when I watched it back, I could see his leg, I could see the scar on it as if he had a skin graft on it or something. I was like, fucking hell. So it just shows you that there's so many people out there that have just, and I said that to him, I says, how many people out there all this country who have got similar backstories, do you know what I mean? It's pretty fucked up, but there is zero help out there for people like us, but I'm a big believer in helping yourself first. Um, so wish a guy well, and no doubt he'll probably cross his path again. But Ashley's in on another note about helping yourself. Ashley's in like a hospital to dry your system out for drugs and alcohol. But hope the best plan would be for her to go straight to rehab from there. But they're saying they don't know if they can do it because she might not have a space and all this shit. And I'm like, how come she told me that everybody in her ward that's there drying out from drinking drugs is that none of them are there for the first time. They're all been there 3, 4, 5 times, right? So how many people got to rehab for the third, fourth, and fifth time? Whereas Ashley hasn't been to rehab once. In fact, her own mother was gobsmacked that she even went to the hospital to dry out. That just shows you how serious she is. But um, It's just a shit show. Fuck. But anyway, wanted to come on and do a video about this guy who I was in prison with, right? And I can't remember what triggered the memory of him. But anyway, something made me remember him. His name was Fazli Rahim. He was from Peshawar in Pakistan, right? And I remember when he came into Low Moss prison, it was like 2012, and he'd just been sentenced to like 25 years life with 25-year minimum, right? And I remember somebody was telling him a story about Castle Huntley, right? And his first day starting a life sentence, he went up to the front desk, and asked the screws when he would be eligible to go there, which is, you can give him, like, you can kind of let him away with it because he's from Pakistan, he doesn't know the ins and outs and all that kind of shit. But if somebody from Scotland done that, that would be, that wouldn't look good on. It wouldn't look good, right? But I used to teach him English, and I remember when he used to come to my cell, right, see the music channel, I would leave the music channel on while I was teaching him, and see, like, if, you know how the music channel is always like women with the fucking bikinis not dancing and all that shit, and he would always like see, it was as if he used to see me looking at it, but it's just a natural thing just to kind of glance at it, and he would always grab my remote and turn it off, but no like kind of domineering way, just that you could see like he was thinking women distract men, right? That's what I felt. But he looked and seemed totally harmless. But I remember I used to obviously pick his brain about Pakistan and all that stuff. And I remember one time he told me him and his brother had an argument and pulled an AK-47 on each other, and his dad jumped in the middle. Had a few fights with my brothers, just no an AK-47 involved. Thank fuck there wasn't, you know what I mean? Because probably wouldn't be sitting here, know what I mean? But when you go by past incidents, but totally unassuming. But I remember talking to one of the other Pakistani prisoners who told me that he was in for killing somebody who was having an affair with his partner or something, and the guy attacked him and he stabbed the guy to death because the guy was too big for him. And while this guy's in top of him strangling him, he told his child to go and get a knife from the kitchen. The child went and got a knife from the kitchen and passed it to him, and he's killed this guy, right? In fact, I think the wife probably put a fucking ornament out of the back of his head for good measure, some blunt force trauma. So let that be a lesson to you. Never get involved in a domestic, you know what I mean? Because he's meant to have been gone with her behind his back. And I heard this for a boy from Pakistan who Raheem had told this to. But the funny thing is, Raheem was a witness against me in a racially aggravated breach of the peace charge that I picked up in prison, which wasn't through him. It was through his pal, Javeed Shahzad. I've already done a video about him. In fact, it was the second video I ever made. But I'll quickly run through it for those of you who haven't watched it or can't be arsed looking for it or fucking whatever. So there was a terrorist attack in Tunisia in 2013-14, whatever it was, 15 maybe. In fact, it must have been 2015 because that's when I get shipped out of the prison for this, right? There was a tourist resort called Sousse, Sousse, and this nut job, and remember this is the height of the ISIS shit and all that, right? this Fruit Loop was running up and down the beach of this tourist resort, just blasting tourists with an AK-47. Now, 33 of these tourists, I believe, were British, and a lot of them were Scottish. I think the majority of them were Scottish. And Ashley's mum and stepdad were just back for this resort a week before this happened. Right? So, me being me and that, wasn't happy. And we were all talking about it. And that Javeed Shahzad, right? He's from Kashmir, Pakistani Kashmir, right? So he identifies as Pakistani, right? He walked past and he piped up something, I can't mind the exact words, but it was something like, that's what happens when that's payback for you invading our countries or something. And I was just pure like, fucking what? Couldn't believe he said that. So started launching a covert campaign, you could call it, but right, this guy was in for butchering his girlfriend for disrespecting him in front of his pals, right? So if you're capable of stabbing somebody to death, whether it be a man or a woman, I don't take that lightly. I don't think because you've stabbed a woman to death, you couldn't stab me to death. I don't think that at all. But he was, I knew I would have smashed him in a fight, but not everybody in prison uses their fists. So the thing is, when you're arguing with a different ethnicity, right, the first thing that comes out the screws moves was this racially motivated, right? Nonsense, man. Absolute fucking snowflake bullshit. That's what really pisses me off. People are scared to even get into an argument with somebody from Pakistan or fucking wherever because the first thing out somebody's mouth is this racist. And I'm not saying there's no racism in the world. I'm totally not saying that. But say he came and argued with me, Jenk the Screws would ask him, so say they knew say he'd attacked me, Jenk the Screws would come up and go, was this racially motivated? They would ask him, oh, what's up with you? Do you see my point? It's like, there's no such thing as being racist towards a white guy. Do you see what I'm saying, right? This is just the way it is, and I won't hear any different. But anyway, I knew I wasn't going to be racial towards him. I'd been teaching his fucking pal English for 2 years or something, 3 years. See, sometimes he used to come to my door, right, and see when I couldn't be fucked. So if my pal came to the door, I would answer it, but if it was him, I would patch it. But I couldn't tell who was who, right? So I used to look under the door and see if I seen a pair of flip-flops. I knew it was him, so I used to patch the door, right? That wee Fazley. And, but his pal, Javeed, fucking, when he said that about the terrorist attack, like, I was, like, so for talking's sake, I would put his dinner in the bin, put his washing in the bin, like when his laundry came back, just put it in the bin, and then he would say to the Screws, I can't find my clothes, my laundry's no came back, and they'd look for it and all that piss, right? Fucking, whatever. But no, at no point in time did I say it in racial because I knew my feet wouldn't have touched the floor, right? And I remember one day the Screws just came and rolled us up after he'd walked past me one day, right, and I was standing in the pantry doorway. The pantry being where you can cook fucking whatever, noodles, whatever. And I was standing there, right, I was just standing in the doorway. Now, he knew there was animosity, right, and he's walking past me and he's pure staring at me, right, but he waited to go outside the barrier gate, the big row of bars, and then started walking towards me, but I was like pure staring him right out. And Fazley grabbed him with the wrist, but it wasn't like a firm grip, and Fazley's not a big guy, or Raheem as we call him, Raheem's not a big guy. Listening to my story, just sitting there chilling, like. So, Raheem's not a big guy, but Javeed is bigger than him, And there's no way Raheem could have held him back if he truly wanted to attack me. And so when he was walking towards me, I done that. It was almost like a charging bull. It took the first step, but I don't know what made me stop. And see, when I done that and turned to my right and looked through the bars, there was this screw I knew for Glen Oakley. He was just sitting like this, look. And I see, when I think about that, it makes me laugh. Because that screw had been round the block. He wasn't a rookie. He wasn't fresh out the packet. And I was like, yeah, fucking daft, you know what I mean? So obviously I've tipped my horn now. He knows there's problems with me and him, right? So then the next thing I know, gets rolled up, he's shouting I'm fucking racially abusing him, whatever it was. Didn't even find out what he said I said. Ended up in fucking Kilmarnock, and I was like, I should have just battered him, man. I should have just battered him because I would have got moved anyway. And that held me back for 2 years. That froze my parole for 2 years. And I remember when I got found not guilty at court. But the funny thing was, he always used to dress in prison clothing or civilian clothing, right? Never once saw him in shalwar kameez, which is a Muslim dress. Like, see the big long robes and all that? Raheem used to wear it sometimes, right? Or the jail uniform, right? And see, when we got to court, Raheem came down to court dressed the way he always dressed, with the jail shit on, right? No, but he came down with the full shit on, the wee hat and everything, man. And I was sitting there like, you fucking wanker, man. But he made a pure arse of himself, giving evidence. He was swearing at my lawyer and everything, man. And I could see the whole court was just looking at him like, you arrogant bastard, man. And I got a not guilty, but it didn't matter. It held my parole back for 2 years. But at that point, but the interesting thing was, Raheem at the time had given a statement. Probably he must have given some sort of statement because he was at court. But when he went to court, he just totally said, I don't know, I can't remember, no, he's never been racist, not. And I'm sitting going, how could I be racist when I taught him fucking English for 2 years? However long it was. I wouldn't have done that if I was racist, was I? But let me read a wee snippet of what what the news accounts were saying. Where is it? So hold on. So this was a news report in BBC News in 4th of April 2013, right? Hold on a wee minute. So it says, a man and woman who made a young girl collect a hammer and knife before brutally killing their victim in front of her have been jailed for life. So they killed this guy in front of their kid. Fazli Rahim, 41, and Saima Gul, 30, almost decapitated Mohammed Noor at a flat in Pollock, Glasgow on 5th of May 2012. The 12-year-old girl told their trial how she saw the victim being hit on the head with the hammer and stabbed. So I thought it was an ornament. She's obviously used the hammer. Rahim and Gul were each told they must serve a minimum of 23 years in prison after being convicted of murder. The schoolgirl, who cannot be named for legal reasons, gave evidence via video link at the pair's trial last month at the High Court in Glasgow. She told the court how she had been at the house when Rahim and Noor came to visit. The girl recalled later hearing screams before seeing Gul and Rahim on top of Mr. Noor. The child told the jury how she was then asked to collect a hammer and handed it to either Gul or Rahim, who hit Mr. Noor on the head. The young witness said she was then told to get a knife from the kitchen before being ordered to get a bigger blade. That was a quote. She told the jury, I can remember a knife going back and forward in Mr. Noor's tummy. Raheem later left the scene, but only after going for a shower. The girl said she was told to say he had not been there prior to him leaving. Police later arrived at the flat and Gould said, "I no like mister, I stabbed him." I no like mister. Fuck me, man. The court was told Mr. Noor was discovered with his head, quote, almost completely cut off. Fuck me, man. Not him. Raheem had claimed he was acting in self-defence in connection with the murder, which was rejected by the jury. Jailing the pair for life at the High Court in Edinburgh, temporary judge Michael O'Grady QC said, "You have been convicted of a most terrible and cruel crime. It is one of the worst murders that I have ever had the misfortune to encounter. There is only one sentence for a crime of this sort. It is life imprisonment. Nobody will ever know the true reasons behind why Mohammed Noor died. Only one thing is certain. He would have died in pain and terror. The punishment part of the sentence must reflect the terrible and cruel nature of your crime. Neither of you has shown any remorse or a flicker of concern for anyone beyond yourselves. I will not distinguish between the two of you. I will set the punishment part for 23 years. Right? Now, remember what that judge just said there, right? Hold on. Wait, hear this, right? Now remember what that judge just said there. A married couple who almost decapitated a man in front of a 12-year-old girl have had their minimum sentences reduced by appeal judges. Fazli Rahim, 42, and 31-year-old Saima Gul were jailed for life and told to serve at least 23 years for murdering Mohammed Noor in Glasgow in May 2012. At the Court of Criminal Appeal in Edinburgh, Lord Drummond Young ruled that the sentences were too severe. Rahim can now apply for parole after 19 years and Gul after 17 years. The court heard that Gul, from the northwest frontier province of Pakistan, was 16 years old when she and Rahim went through an arranged marriage. Gul was pregnant when she remained with Rahim's family, while he used false documents to travel to the UK to look for work in 1999. By the time she joined her husband in 2008, Rahim had fathered 4 children after a bigamous marriage to a Scottish woman. Gul was sent to live with Mr. Noor and had a child by him. She later claimed he had raped and abused her and that he beat her with his hands and with wire. She went to a police station the day before the murder to complain that Mr. Noor had been harassing her. The court heard that officers escorted her home and told Mr. Noor to stay away from her. On 5th of May 2012, Rahim and Gul carried out the brutal attack on Mr. Noor at a flat in Glasgow's Pollock area. The couple's trial at the High Court in Glasgow heard how the murder was witnessed by a 12-year-old girl. Giving evidence by CCTV link, she described Mr. Noor screaming with Gul and Rahim on top of him. She told how the 2 attackers sent her to the kitchen for a knife, then ordered her to get a bigger blade. The girl was also made to bring a hammer which was used to strike Mr. Noor on the head. A jury heard 22 days of evidence and speeches, then rejected Rahim's claim that he was merely a spectator while Gul carried out the fatal hammer and knife attack. They also rejected Gould's story that Mr. Noor had tried to rape her and her husband had intervened. So if the jury's rejecting all this, what else were they talking shite about? That wasn't the news that said that. That was me, just in case you were wondering. Sentencing the pair, temporary judge Michael O'Grady said he was, quote, extremely sceptical about the claim that this had led to the fatal confrontation. During the appeal hearing, however, lawyers for the couple protested that the trial judge had paid too much attention to factors which were irrelevant before deciding their sentences. Judge O'Grady said Gould showed no sign of remorse during the evidence, but defence advocate Claire Mitchell said she had been told by her lawyers not to react. Ms. Mitchell also argued that the jury's guilty verdict did not mean the trial judge could reject everything Gould said about being abused by Mr. Noor. Defence QC Gordon Jackson said Raheem had no significant criminal record. Just decapitated a cunt, know what I mean? The guy's alright. He had been good friends with Mr. Noor, and it was not clear how much he knew about the relationship between his wife and his friend. Mr. Jackson said Judge O'Grady had not taken the background adequately into account. Lord Drummond Young, sitting with Lord Philip, agreed that the trial judge had attached excessive significance to some factors. The appeal judges said Raheem and Gould came from a society which was very different from Glasgow. No shit. There had also been a highly unusual relationship between the two and their victim, but Judge O'Grady did not attach any significant weight to this. Lord Drummond Young continued, we think the judge attached too much significance to the absence of a reaction of the appellants during the trial. He also said the trial judge was wrong in not taking into account Gould's account of abuse. Even though the evidence was very unsatisfactory, she had been forced to live with Mr. Noor and had a child by him. The appeal judges also compared the punishment with the sentences handed down in other murder cases. Fucking mental, innit? What can you say? But wonder where they are now. Probably getting ready for fucking parole soon, man. I'm sure that Raheem was saying he was going back to Pakistan, but it just shows, you know what I mean, hearing a dodgy passport and all that, looking for work. That doesn't happen here. Fuck's sake. But anyway, I hope that was entertaining and you learned something or whatever. Just, I didn't know like the judge's statement and all that. I'd actually heard that there was a mad love triangle, but Raheem was going with this white bird and blah blah blah, you know what I mean? Whatever you have, it was in the fucking papers. But I'm going to go anyway. You all have a good night. I'm doing an interview this weekend. I'm not going to say who it is, but it'll be a good one. And I'll upload it ASAP. So, you all have a good night. Take care. Be safe. Be good. And fuck knows. Over now.